Hey YouTube, welcome to another Green Dragon Gaming Club Battle Report. Without us, they never feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. This is another Pretty Boy Bat Rep, and this is Buckeye Game 5. So yeah, this is the last game, and I have a very interesting opponent for to end the tournament with, which was a lot of fun. I'll get into that in a sec. Here's my list. If you don't know it already, take a moment, pause it, look it over. But on to my opponent, whose name is Andrew. I can't remember his last name. It started with a W, though. But great guy, and he's playing an all goblins list. Not only that, but it's an all cave goblin list. It's very fluffy. It's very themed. This was actually the most talked about list going into the tournament. The Juice Crew, in the list review, basically compared everybody's list to this list here. Has over 200 goblins in it, and they said, when they were talking about other lists, well, it might be good, but is it going to be 200 goblins? So, I mean, this was this was the bar that was set. So we'll see if my army can handle them. We'll get into deployment and the list itself. So it's hold the center, standard deployment, back to basics. You can see Andrew has a Mork and Gork shirt, which is amazing. I love it. On the left there, he has a unit of, I want to say 50. Yeah, I want to say it's 50 cave goblins with spears and shields, and then he has a couple of characters in there. And then he's got a Nasher Wrecking Team. On the hill, he's got a unit of 50 cave goblins with bows. All of these units, I think, have one mad git each, or 2 or 3 of them do. Then in between on the hill, that's another bust of 50 cave goblins with spears, and his general and BSB are in that one. And he's got a couple mages in the back there, both running witchcraft. Off the hill in the center, he's got a unit of 40 Nashers. It's part of a Nasher herd, which is pretty cool. I've never actually seen one of these units fielded before, so I was interested how they would work, how good they might be. And then he's got another unit of 50 cave goblins with bows. He might have a character or 2 in there. He had like 7 characters, and they were all kitted out in interesting ways. And then he had a unit of Nasher Dashers, which are like the flying guys. They're good chaff, anti-chaff. And then he's got another Nasher Wrecking Team. On my side here, on the left, I have a Bolt Thrower. Got a unit of my Executioners in front of the ruins. Since they have the Stalker standard, I figured that's a good place to take cover and then try to attack his flank. Behind them, I have a unit of Harpies. I had vanguarded my Raiders back. You can see behind my lines there to keep him at a bow range because he dropped first, so he's going to get first turn. Then I have my Dancers, my General BSB with the Spears in the center, Kraken supporting them. And then over on the right, I got unit Dark Raiders, Repeater Auxiliaries, Bolt Thrower, and then finishing out is my unit of Dread Knights. So going into this game, I'm looking at this just wall of bodies, and Andrew was talking about how his list has performed, and it's been kind of up and down. He basically said that either the armies he's played against have ways to deal with his list, or they don't at all. Particularly, he says he's played, Warriors of Dark Gods list where it didn't really have any chaff, so it had nothing to deal with the wrecking teams or the mad gits. So you'll see how that comes into play in our game. On my side of things, I'm thinking that I need to try and sweep the flank. It'd be nice to spearhead and crush his center, but I just don't think I have the bodies to do it. My best chance is to get those spears into his horde unit of archers, because I'll have more ranks, he won't be steadfast. Problem is, I'm not confident they will get across the board with that many bodies. He's got at least 100 bow shots coming at me a turn. That's why the Kraken's there to support. And then I'm hoping the Dread Knights can take out the Nasher Dashers and then converge into the center to help out. As for the Nasher herd, I'm hoping just to thin them out with shooting as much as possible, and maybe get lucky and get a flank charge on them. And then those dancers are there purely to just go for the objective. So anyway, Goblin's turn 1. I get lucky here. His Nasher Wrecking Team rolls triples, and I think it was like triple sixes, so it dies. And that very rarely ever happens, so I got really lucky there. Andrew got very unlucky. But otherwise, he advances. He's not playing around. Those goblins are out for blood. He's trying to get in shooting range of everything. His Nasher dashers are going to try to go for my bolt thrower, so they move up. And then we get into shooting, and he kills, I think, a dancer, kills a couple repeater auxiliaries. Well, actually, he shoots at... Yeah, he actually shoots at my chaff, which he needed 6s to hit, and he actually... Oh, no, I'm sorry. They're fine. They're just out of the picture. Yeah, he kills a dancer, and he kills a couple repeater auxiliaries. Nothing too terrible. Other than that, that's the end of his turn. Dreadolf's turn 1. I need to get these Mad Gits out. Now, he only has like 1 per unit, but I'm elves. They can still really hurt me. And he outnumbers me immensely. So I move the Harpies over all the way onto the left, and I move my Raiders around. I still play movement to use them as chaff, but I need the Harpies to basically land between those 2 units, and they have enough movement to do so to get 2 for 1, release both Mad Gits at once, and get them out of there. Executioners take cover in the ruins in the meantime, and then I'm slowly advancing my center, just being wary of the Nasher herd, because they can really do a number, especially at full strength. Otherwise, over here, I'm trying to keep my Raiders back so he doesn't shoot them off the board. And then I think maybe I move up my Knights a little bit. I don't want him to get a charge of my Bolt Thrower, and hopefully I can charge him next turn. In the meantime, my repeaters are going to just try to take him out. Magic, doing my best, because I know I'm going to get 100 bow shots into this unit next turn. So I put Word of Iron to give him a 3-up armor save. And then in shooting, I am able to kill the Nasher Wrecking Team, so that threat's gone, which is nice. One of the mistakes that I think my opponent made was he didn't keep his mages in his units. Now, they weren't overly effective. He only had 2 spells, but my Bolt Thrower kills one of his mages. And other than that, I think I killed 1 Nasher Dasher, and then it's Goblin's turn 2. So he continues his advance. He gets aggressive with the Nasher herd. He tries to do a charge, either on the Kraken or the Spears. I think it's the Kraken, and he fails it. And he's just trying to give himself room. He spreads himself out a little bit. And I think his Nasher Dashers go for a charge too, and they fail it. So, nothing happens to Magic. In shooting, he starts unloading on these spears, and he starts to kill a few off. And then the other archer block shoots at these repeater auxiliaries and kills the whole unit. Those goblin archers were accurate this game. Now it's Dreadolf's turn 2. I launch my trap. I throw the Harpies between both those units to try to draw the Mad Gits out. I move the Raiders up on the left to chaff the Spears as I move my Executioners closer, because I don't want them charging my Spears in the flank, which I move up because I need to kill either that Archer unit in the center or his General and BSB unit on the hill. So the Kraken and the Spears advance aggressively in the center, and then I chaff up the herd with the Raiders. So, and then I don't think anything really happens in Magic. In shooting, I shoot what I can at this unit. I actually thin them down quite a bit. I think I kill like 8 of these guys. Goblin's turn 3. On the left, he charges the chaff. The Nasher herd is going to go eat my Raiders. I I forgot to mention it, but I actually failed a really easy charge with my knights into his Nasher Dashers, and then shooting I only kill a couple, so he actually in turn charges my bolt thrower this turn. That's not going to be good. Otherwise, he's just repositioning slightly, and then he has to release his Mad Gits. So let's see. Nothing happens to magic and shooting. Oh, I'm losing more spears. Not good. And then he's releasing Mad Gits, just trying to get them out of the way or get in front of me, like here. And one goes right in front of my spears, which ruins, really, my thoughts of possibly charging them now that I'm going to take 2d6 strength 5 auto hits. And then in combat, he easily kills the chaff. The Nashers eat the other chaff. Excuse me one moment. Instead of the shy ambulance, it's going to be like my air conditioner just turns on randomly as I do these. So anyway, that's the end of his turn, and I lied. It's going to be next turn that he charges the bolt thrower. It's this turn that I failed to charge with the knights. Yeah, so my turn, I get Word of Iron off to try to save my spear unit if possible. And like I said, I don't charge with them because I don't want to take the Mad Git to the face. But what I do, especially since his general's unit is so long, I just charge the Kraken in. The Kraken's going on a solo mission to assassinate his general. He's got 4 attacks. He's strength 7 and he does D3 wounds each. And his general, I don't think, has a ward save or anything. So I figured this was a pretty good play. I should win that combat as long as I don't fluff on my Thunderstop. And if I kill his general, then he's reduced down to like leadership 6, and then he's going to be at a -1 due to fear. So even on Steadfast, there's a good chance that he breaks, and I just break the game right there. His center collapses, his general and his BSB are gone, and then panic ensues. I couldn't throw the Kraken into the Nasher herd. They're higher initiative and they're strength 5. They got so many attacks, they're just going to eat him. So that's what I was going for. My knights fail their charge, and then we get into combat, and the Kraken, close but no cigar. I only hit him once and wound him once, and then the multi-wound, I do 2 wounds to his general, not enough to kill him. He actually managed to sneak a wound through on me, with most of his guys needing to hit me on 6s. I stomp a few goblins, I win combat, but he passes his steadfast check. So my Kraken's about to eat a wave of red and teeth next turn. On the other side, my executioners had countercharged the spears. I killed a bunch of them, and because I'm in bus formation this game, I actually break them because they're not steadfast, and I run them down. Goblin's turn 4. My Kraken's gonna die. He makes it into the bolt thrower with his last couple of Nasher Dashers. Everything else repositions. So that's like that. His archers are moving over. Even with the 3-up armor save, he's still getting a few wounds through on my spears. He kills the bolt thrower, turns to threaten my knights. Down goes the Kraken before he gets to swing again. Dread Elf's turn 4. The Executioners are now going to, because they've broken his flank, are going to put pressure on his center. They start to sweep across. I got to take out the Nasher herd, though. I have no other choice at this point. So I charge in. The advantage to me is that I have impact hits, and all my attacks are at higher initiative than the Nasher herd. I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of the game, but I can't imagine other armies besides elves who have to face this thing in combat, because those guys are initiative 4, so pretty scary. My Dread Knights, unfortunately, don't have much for them to do. If I just keep facing those guys, he's just going to fly around me. I need them to try to get closer to the center, to at least help score the objective. So I just bring them around. If he wants to charge me, he charges me. I'm thinking I should be able to kill those last couple guys, even with a flank charge. So that's that. Get Word of Iron on these guys. And yeah, I kill the Gnasher herds. I do a bunch of wounds. They break. When they break, they die automatically, and they do wounds like in a 6-inch radius. They don't do a ton of damage in the aftermath, but just in the initial combat, they kill a lot of guys. I'm down to 2 spears left, and my general on BSB. So that concerns me, but I do face forward, so everything is in my front, and that's all I can do. And we'll see if we can outlast these goblins here. Goblins, this must be turn 5 now. Gnasher Dashers charge the knights in the flank. He opts not to charge my BSB and generals unit, which is smart. He's going to try to shoot them. Then he has his archers turn to face the executioners because he knows he needs to start shooting at them. Over here, he kills 2 of my guys. I failed to do any wounds to him, which was shocking. But I do luck out, and at least they hold. He goes into shooting, and thankfully, due to Word of Iron, I get out of this relatively unscathed. But, 50 bow shots, he does kill the last 2 spearmen, so he gets all those points. And he only does 1 wound to my general and 1 wound to my BSB. So definitely could have been worse, but yeah, that's a big chunk of points those goblins got. And then he does some shooting on the executioners, but doesn't do as much. He had to move to shoot them, so that there was some penalty there, and I lucked out a little bit. Trails turn 5. Executioners charge the bowmen. My BSB charges out of the unit into the spears on the hill, and then the mage just moves behind him so that the bows can't see her. So I thought that was pretty crafty, keep her alive, and then, I'll have a charge. He'll offer me a champion, I do 4 wounds, and then I have a banner. I'll actually win combat, I cause fear, maybe that'll be enough to break this unit. And I think my executioner should have no trouble with those bowmen, so we'll see what happens. So the bowmen break. I win that combat, they break. I fail my restrain check. So I have to pursue, I don't catch them. And on his turn, they rally. My BSB wins the combat on the hill, but he does the smart thing and offers up a champion. I win the combat, he holds his steadfast. So that's that. And then I want to say he moves these bowmen over. Yeah. He moves these bowmen over. I don't think he charges. Anyway. Hold on a sec. Now I'm confusing myself. So he does that. Sorry, it's been a little while. Okay, so basically this is wrapping up the game. Oh no, he does charge the flank. Okay, he charges the flank. He offers up another champion. My BSB rocks the champion. I'm losing, but not by a lot, because I still have 4 wounds and a banner. He's going to have charge, flank, big flank. He's going to have 3 ranks, 2 banners. So I'm going to be losing by 3. So I'll be leadership 6 with a reroll, and I luckily stick it out. So actually pretty tight. I stick it out there. My executioners recharge the bowmen, and then my dancers come into the rescue and charge the flank of the archers. I punk some other hero in a challenge this time, and we do the spearman combat first. The bowmen hold, They are steadfast. His general unit actually breaks, though. He was losing combat, and he was at -1 due to fear, and he just failed it. They break. I can't pursue him, so he's going to conserve half those points at the end of the game. And then my executioners break the archers, but this time they pass their test to restrain. And then we didn't bother to do it because it was the end of the game, but I would have reformed them wide. I had 21 guys there, and that would put them within 6 inches of the objective. The turn before, my knights finally fought off the Nasher Dashers, so then turn 6 they march up to get within 6 of the objective as well. And that is the end of the game. Oh, that was a very close game, very fun game. The Dread Elves do win. I had the advantage once I was able to sweep the flank there, and then at the end, some things got tight. There were some things that were swinging back and forth, but eventually his center did crumble, even though he outnumbered me, and I was able to get the objective. So 16-4. MVPs for the Goblins was definitely their archers. I mean, that put a lot of pressure on my army. It basically gave him the ranged advantage. He killed all my spears with those guys, and he killed my repeater auxiliaries, and just really forced me to have to come to him. And then for me, the executioners did well this game. I mean, they're goblins. I would hope they could beat goblins, but they conserved their points. They were able to kill the bowman or the spearman, and then kill the bowman, and just put pressure on his center. And then at the end of the game, get me the objective by doing that reform. So what did we learn today? Nasher herds. I like this unit a lot more than I did previously. It's not even so much I dislike them, it's just something that I never played with before. I don't have the models. I've actually started to make models for them. I'd like to try them out. They're pretty scary. If you don't have elves, Initiative 4 with that many attacks at decent weapon skill and high strength, I mean, it's scary. It's a scary unit. You really have to shoot them. If you engage them, even if you beat them, you're going to lose a lot of guys in the process. So, really cool unit. I was glad to see it on the table. As far as hordes go, I mean, now this was definitely a horde army. He had 2 horde units, and then he had 2 bust units, but it's just a ton of guys. When you're facing that wall, I think Andrew said it correctly. Some armies just either have ways to deal with it or they don't. It's one of those things where if you can break his line, you've got the game, which is what eventually happened here. But if he keeps you in front of him, you're going to have a really tough time. It is a fluffy list. It's not optimal by any means, but I think it could be actually a pretty good list, especially if you tweak the characters differently, added some different elements to the list. But very cool list. I enjoyed playing it a lot, and definitely an interesting game. The importance of chaff. Chaff was huge in this game, as it is in most games. Those harpies, being able to release those madgets, helped considerably. And me being able to redirect the goblin unit so I don't get flank charged, and the Nasher herd was huge, so I could send my Kraken on his mission. Unfortunately, that did not work out, but luckily the chaff made it so that I could have a feasible backup plan. And then what won me this game was being able to sweep the flank the way that I did. Again, I was able to break his line, and that's the only reason I was able to win this game. Otherwise, he had some pretty good advantages as far as shooting goes, because everything on my side is basically toughness 3. He can shoot me to death. He's going to be steadfast forever, so if I just throw units into him, he can get counter charges as soon as he chews through all my chaff. I needed to get around him and when the executioners were putting pressure on a center, it made him have to kind of engage. So it was a good game, really fun. Thank you, Andrew. Great guy, awesome opponent, and great way to end the tournament. Day 2 is much better than day 1. I ended with 52 points. Not good. not a good tournament for me. I did finish in the upper half. I think, like, in terms of battle points, I ended up like 43rd or something like that, but still not very good. Not where I wanted to be. I think, to reiterate something I said earlier, after the first game, I didn't play my game anymore. I went into the games with a completely different mindset, and I can't do that. I got to just pretend it's a new game and be patient and play my usual game. But nonetheless, it was a really fun tournament. I would love to go again next year. God willing, I'll be able to go. First time to Ohio, first time at Buckeyes. It was a blast. All my opponents were really fun, and I can't wait to do it again next year. Thank you guys for watching. Do all the YouTube stuff. Hit like, subscribe. Please leave comments if you have any suggestions, tactics, feedback for these videos. Otherwise, until next time, see ya.